Hello and welcome to another edition of the PHNX D-backs podcast. I don't know what he's doing here, but I'm very scared
St.
right now.
Patrick's Day or something?
Yeah,
what's with the
No, this is
bright
like
green?
So somebody in my family used to actually own this place.
Oh.
And so we have shirts and stuff.
Now I feel
I
bad.
just
Fair
wanted
enough.
to tell everybody that's on the show that these two are heartbreakers when it comes to Zach Gallen. Don't ever listen to them. They talk about how Zach Gallen will never be an Arizona Diamondback for the rest of his career, and they break everybody's hearts. So I just need you to know that they broke my heart this morning again, and they break my heart every single day. But please, please, please let Zach Gallen get signed this offseason to prove these two wrong. Anyways, have a good show, boys.
Thanks, Faj. We'll miss you. Of course, he's wrong, but this show is brought to you by the fine folks at the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. I am definitely, I'm a heartbreaker. I'm a love machine. I am your mayor, PHNX, occasionally known as Derek Montilla. This menace next to me is the one and only Thunderstick Jesse Friedman.
Is Charles Woodall Pike trying to blame me for this? I'm assuming
no,
that's
he got both of us. He got both of us. There was a Derek in all caps.
Okay.
There was a Jesse in all caps.
Oh, he's just saying hello.
He's just saying hello. No,
hello to you too,
hello,
Charles Woodall Pike.
hello, sir.
I don't feel accused by any of you
Not
at all. Right
Not at all. Not at all. It's a great morning to be a wild card team, let me tell you, in Major League Baseball. Right now, the Philadelphia Phillies are up 7-3 on the Atlanta Braves, and the Mariners are up by 1-0 on the Houston Astros. Who knows where these games go? Who knows where these series go? But right out of the gate, we're seeing the underdogs kind of doing the thing, right, Jesse?
We are. And the other thing that I'm noticing is that home teams are like bizarrely cursed right now.
Oof.
Something like that.
Things aren't good.
If you look at the wild card round, the Mets lost 2 out of 3, right? They were the home team. The Cardinals got swept. They were the home team. The Blue Jays got swept. They were also the home team. No, sorry, Leah. And then the Cleveland Guardians, they're the outlier. They won both games at home. And the Braves are, as you said, are currently trailing at home against the Phillies, as are the Astros trailing at home against the Mariners. So
what is going on? It's
pretty bizarre. I mean, if you add all of these numbers together, I'm getting 3-7 currently. I guess 3-6 as of right now. It would be 3-7 if the Atlanta Braves are able to, or I guess I should say if the Philadelphia Phillies
hold on for the win.
Hold on and win this game. So it's pretty remarkable what road teams have been able to do so far.
Here's one thing that is unprecedented by this year's playoffs, right? Is that you have essentially the longest layoff for the postseason for a top seed that there's ever been, right? Aside from like a natural layoff or whatever, this basically it's an all-star break for these top seeds who had to wait around for this wild card round of 3 games, best of 3 to finish up. And as Jesse pointed out to me, they didn't even expedite the next round when some of these teams could have matched up earlier based on them both winning after 2 games, right? So this has been a very, very long layoff for some of these teams. And I mean, I guess there's a question to be said, is too much time off a bad thing in baseball? Obviously, we know it's good, right? We know having some time off is good. The advantages are there. Having the first round bye, obviously avoid elimination. That's a given, right? But relievers have more time to recover. Plus, you have an opportunity not only for your starting rotation to recover a little bit, but reset and have your guys start with the one, your top guy with your ace of your rotation, right? But in a sport where timing and rhythm seem to be so key, these teams have also had the longest layoff from competition since the All-Star break, and their opponents enter kind of on a high, coming in from a series win where they're kind of on a roll. And if you believe in momentum, they have momentum kind of on their side as they roll into this second round.
But I don't believe in momentum.
Jesse
so what you just said is irrelevant.
He's called momentum. It's like magic, he said.
What?
And the Easter Bunny. And he said none of them are real. And I am like, he's a monster. But Jesse does not believe in momentum. He doesn't think it's a real thing.
I do. I do think like the biggest advantage for the higher seeds in this round is what you said. It's the fact that they can have their best starting pitchers, open up this series. Like Justin Verlander is starting for the Astros, whereas Logan Gilbert is starting for the Seattle Mariners, right? So the pitching matchups work out better. But I think there's definitely something to what you're saying. I mean, the regular season ended almost a full week ago now. 6 days ago. So it is a long layoff for some of these teams that haven't had to play a baseball game in a while, and maybe that is a disadvantage in some way.
Yeah. Well, and the one thing about baseball is the home field advantage is probably most significant in baseball, right? I mean, all other sports.
Interesting.
You're not really
most significant in baseball.
Why? Here's why.
I don't know if I agree with that.
You get to bat at the bottom of the ninth inning, and other sports, you're not really. You don't have any actual advantage.
You do in hockey.
What do you have in hockey?
The change. So where your bench is in hockey, you have a long change if you're the away team for 2 periods, and only a good change for 1. So if you're the home team, you have a better change for your lines
for two of the 3 periods.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
See, that's interesting. Basketball and football, I don't really think there's any on-field advantage besides you're playing in front of your home fans and you're at home. Then you have teams like the Seahawks that take it to another level and actually scientifically engineer their stadium to be louder than any stadium in baseball or in football, right? So like there's that whole thing going on.
I think, so that seems in hockey, what you're describing, Leah, sounds like a clear advantage, right? Like that's clearly better for you. I think that batting in the bottom half of the inning is an advantage, but I'm not like, I don't know. Like in football, you can either choose to take the ball first or you can choose to defer, right?
No, you have to flip a coin.
Right. Well, okay. Right.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter. Whoever wins
you're
the
right.
coin
You're
toss,
right. In football, it completely doesn't matter. What were you saying?
Also
Leah?
in hockey,
I told you he hates football. You guys haven't been listening to me this whole time.
Also in hockey, the home team gets to line match. So the away team puts out their line on the ice, and then the home team can choose which line they want to match against that line.
Okay.
Instead of the other way around, so there's a bit of an advantage.
So they can wait until the
so they can match.
Well, now you're convincing me that hockey definitely has the most
But
advantageous.
I agree with you about the 9th inning thing for baseball.
I guess my point with the football thing is that it is not inherently better to start with the football or to let the other team have the football to start the game, right?
No, because
what I'm saying is
that philosophy changed over the years because everybody that won the coin toss in football used to take it,
right?
And now most of the time they defer because they want the ball back because you get it at halftime,
right? You get it at halftime. Right? But what I'm saying is like there's still some debate about which of those is better, and in baseball, like you'd think maybe it's the same way. Maybe it's actually not necessarily better to be the team hitting in the bottom half of the inning. Maybe you would prefer to be the team hitting at the beginning of the game. I do see what you're saying, though. Like in the bottom of the 9th, once you get to the end of the game, there's probably an advantage there.
The home team has a chance to win the game without there being any kind of rebuttal from, it'd almost be like if one team in football, the home team in football in overtime got to make a drive, to score. And, like if they do anything, field goal or whatever, it's over, right? But
sure.
And I do know there's a full rule like that in overtime. So please do not message me about that. But I do think that this is interesting because we haven't seen this before in baseball. So this is kind of unprecedented. Like we get to watch this play out and see how that layoff impacts these top seeds and how this changes the postseason for Major League Baseball. It could all rectify itself in a few days once these teams kind of are back on the field playing. Maybe we see the higher team, higher seeds, kind of come back and start getting back on track, right?
Sure.
Or we could potentially see a round where most of the top seeds get knocked out based on the fact that the other teams just kind of stayed on that path. I mean, when you think about wildcard team, they haven't stopped playing baseball since February, right? With the All-Star break being the only exception, and it being the same for every team and not just one team or a handful of teams, right? So this will be interesting, I think, to watch. If you're a baseball fan, this could be a big impact on the postseason if they continue to handle the wild card round like this and give those top seeds such a significant layoff. But really, all this means is we are careening towards an all Peoria Sports Complex World Series between the San Diego Padres and the Seattle Mariners. That's all this means. So buckle up because that's what we got coming for you.
Speaking of the Seattle Mariners, it's now 4-0.
It's now 4-0. I'm telling you, watch what's going to happen in these first round or the second round. This is going to be ridiculous what happens to these top seeds. But
Justin Verlander's given up 4 runs on 6 hits.
Mark Graves says, wouldn't bother me if the Dodgers get eliminated. Oh, Mark. Well, we have some of those bottles left that they were popping on the Sun Show in honor of Gerald getting engaged. We will pop some of those bottles in this room if the Dodgers get eliminated. I'll guarantee you that. Oh man, Jacob's gonna hate that, and that's what he deserves it. He deserves it. But
the cleanup job is really where you take the hit when you do that.
Yeah.
But it was definitely worth it yesterday.
We appreciate our hockey lessons with Leah, by the way. And Michael in the comments says, if there's an all Peoria Sports Complex World Series, does the winner celebrate at In-N-Out? Yes. Yes. And that line is going to be even worse than it is every single day you try to go there. So good luck with that during that celebration. But one thing that can get you through it, so join some of our fine friends from OG's products. They're edibles. They're wonderful, delicious gummies that they have to offer. Of course, they have a wide variety of flavors. They're all about flavor in your life. They're all about offering a wide range of doses and flavors. Strains, indicas, sativas, whatever you need, but they're also about giving you your best night's sleep with their brand new Sleep Edition gummy. It's a 2-to-1 THC to CBN ratio. Of course, we all know what THC does, but the CBN part, it helps you stay asleep, fall asleep. It's a great night's sleep. And honestly, I told Jesse this is 100% the truth. Even when I am not taking the sleep gummies, I feel like my sleep pattern is back on track. Like sometimes you just get in a groove. I don't know if any of you do this, where like I can't sleep most of the time longer than 6 hours, right? No matter when I go to bed, 6 hours later is when I'm waking up and I'm wide awake. If I could get back to sleep, that's a whole other story. But I'm now sleeping through the night like a baby, thanks to our friends at OG. So make sure to try out their Sleep Edition gummy and their new aquaberry flavor. Shout out to Aquaman for harvesting those. And we highly recommend you check out OG's online at ogsbrands.com or on Instagram at ogsbrands. Must be 21 years or older to enjoy. And also, of course, our friends at Four Peaks Brewing Company is the home brewery for spooky season this October. Make sure to check out their haunted brewery tours over at their 8th Street pub, Monday through Wednesday, 7 p.m. and 8:30 p.m., 2 shows per night. That's all that most people can handle because there's a lot of people that get frightened and, you know, they have to cart those people away. Like Saul had to be put in like a wheelbarrow and carted out there because he was just overcome with fright. But of course, we also have
do have wheelbarrows on site.
They do. It's multiple, and they have like paramedics to wheel people out and check on them once they get outside, make sure you're okay. But we've got plenty of cool events in the works with our friends at Four Peaks. So make sure to try out their wonderful beers wherever you get your beers at, and make sure to enjoy responsibly. Must be 21 years or older to enjoy. Jesse. The Arizona Diamondbacks, of course, have been known for not spending a whole lot of money and taking
No way,
right? So taking a look ahead at the D-backs payroll for 2023, we have put together some numbers here for you. The D-backs 2023 payroll at a glance kind of shows you how much money the Arizona Diamondbacks have committed and some estimated totals brought to us by the MLB Trade Rumors website. But as you can see here, the Diamondbacks have $100.8 million total, kind of guaranteed in a way to people next year.
In a sense,
yeah.
You can see I threw injury replacements on here because that's sort of an inevitable part of the season, and it's something the team is definitely budgeting for. You see $10 million in league minimum players. The D-backs have a lot of those guys who are still pre-arbitration who will make the league minimum next year, and then. Yeah, the arbitration total, $28.9 million. As you said, that's coming from our friends over at MLB Trade Rumors who have a fancy algorithm where they plug in guys' statistics who are arbitration eligible, and it spits out an estimate of what they might make in arbitration this winter. And then the 58.9 is solid. That number.
That's guaranteed money.
That number is guaranteed money. It's set in stone. Theoretically, a couple of those could increase, like if the Diamondbacks were to pick up Ian Kennedy's option, that would go up, but I think we can feel pretty confident at this point that's not going to happen. So this is a pretty good look at what the payroll will look like for the Diamondbacks next year, at least what their current commitments are. And that number, Derek, when I first saw it after adding all these together, is pretty high. It doesn't leave the Diamondbacks that much room theoretically. Their total payroll this season by the end of the year was also around $100 million. So they're basically already locked in for the same amount as they spent this season. And theoretically, depending on how much they're willing to spend in addition, which I'm sure there will be some, I'm sure that they'll have some money to spend this winter. It's probably not going to be that much because they're already pretty much maxed out at what they were spending this year.
Well, here's the thing. The $58.9 million in guaranteed money for the D-backs is pretty much the amount right now that like Sport Track and other things have the Diamondbacks paying next year.
Yeah, if you think the D-backs are only committed to $58 million next year, that is very misleading.
Right, because like Jesse said, there's the arbitration projections, which were given to us by MLB Trade Rumors. But before we get there, just to give you an idea of where other teams are at prior to their arbitration, every other team in the NL West right now has a payroll above the league average, which is basically a little over $100 million. So the Diamondbacks,
before taking arbitration,
because right now the arbitration figures aren't calculated into what they're spending for 2023 yet until we know those figures are set in stone, and those will happen at when the players go to arbitration. I know a lot of people are aware of what arbitration is, but can you shed a little bit more light on this terrible process of trying to tell a player that you covet and appreciate their services, how little they actually do for you, so that way you could pay them as little money as possible?
Yeah, it's generally once players reach about 3 years of service time, they go from being a pre-arbitration player, which is where you basically make the league minimum, to the arbitration process, which is basically where you get some sort of salary increase. You can't lose money. You can only gain money. And it's this really ugly process where a lot of times teams will settle in advance. So the team and the agent of the player will agree on a number in advance and avoid arbitration. We see that a lot. But if you do have to go into arbitration, it's basically a matter of the agent deciding what his player is worth and the team deciding what they want to pay for the player. And then those two parties bringing their cases to a theoretically unbiased third party,
like a mediator,
who makes an arbiter, who makes the decision. So, we've sort of joked about it in the past, is it being this unfortunate thing where a team has to argue against their player and like explain why their player is worth less than the player thinks that they're worth. It's sort of an ugly process, and that's why teams like to avoid it if they can. But oftentimes that doesn't happen, and the process gets used, and guys wind up with getting some sort of a raise. It's just a matter of what exactly that figure is.
We have an arbitration process around here at PHNX, and I have a little notebook where I just write down everything Jesse does wrong all year long, so that when we get to that point, we can really drill him through the arbiter and make sure that he understands,
we use arbitration for all of our contracts here at PHNX. So
it's a fantastic process. It's really enjoyable.
I'll be your agent, Derek.
Yeah, oh man.
While you're arguing against me, I'm gonna argue in your favor, all right?
That's why I told you this guy's gonna be there at the end. But at the end of my life, Jesse will be there telling me goodbye. But let's buckle up for some arbitration projections, shall we?
Yes.
Because again, the D-backs arbitration projections for 2023 from MLB Trade Rumors give you an idea of what the players are currently making there on the right versus what we can see them make. This is based on their production this year and the amount that they're able to essentially get as a raise based on their performance in 2022.
Yeah, and the process is based off of comparisons to other players. So they're going to look at what have other similar players, with similar numbers gotten in the past, and how would that manifest itself for each of these particular guys. So the name that really sticks out here, there's a reason we have him highlighted, is Christian Walker. He's due for a pretty substantial raise. $7.3 million was his arbitration estimate from MLB Trade Rumors. And the main reason for that is that the guy just hit 36 home runs. And the arbitration process highly values home runs, maybe a little bit too much. I know there are some people who think that the arbitration process is overvaluing home runs to the point where some guys are at risk of getting non-tendered because teams just aren't willing to pay what the arbitration process will bear out. Christian Walker is worth $7.3 million.
I mean, there's something to be said not only for the amount of home runs he hit this year, because again, if you have a consistent lineup of guys getting on base and you have Christian Walker hit 35 to 40 home runs again next season, you're looking at a guy that should be getting well over 100 RBI in a season, and you're looking at one of the most valuable first basemen in the game.
He's going to win a Gold Glove. So
he is going to win a Gold Glove.
You have to factor that in too.
He led the league as far as first basemen go in defensive runs saved. So there's no doubt about it that he's absolutely worth this $7.3 million. The Diamondbacks will probably, hopefully, settle with him before they actually hit the arbitration process, because he deserves every penny. And I think there's something to be said, not only because we've talked about the Diamondbacks signing their younger talent to long-term contracts and such. There's something to be said about showing your players your appreciation for their performance and trying to do everything you can to build goodwill with them. With Zach Gallen, for instance, he's also on that list. He's due for a substantial raise, probably the second most substantial, but probably as far as percentage wise, the highest, right? Because Lee, if you could put that back up, I believe Zach Gallen is making below $1 million right now, $746K, and he's going to get $4.5 million. So his is the most substantial as far as percentage increase.
Right.
And again, deserves it. He deserves it. And he deserves the team to throw him an extra $500,000 and get this settled before they get to any point. Honestly, Zach Gallen is one of those guys that the team should try to do everything they can to start building goodwill towards as far as keeping him a part of this team and making him know that he is the future of this starting rotation. I mean, he's the now. He's not just the future. He's the now.
And we'll dig more into the possibility of Zach Gallen being extended in a future show. We could probably talk about that for an entire episode because it's obviously a pretty big storyline around here. But one of the big reasons why things may not look so great on that front and why Jacob was giving us a hard time at the beginning of the show, because we've been talking about this around here lately, is the fact that in the pre-arbitration process, a player's agent has the opportunity to try to negotiate a higher salary than the league minimum for the player. And so Scott Boras, Zach Gallen's agent, came to the Diamondbacks and tried to make some sort of a deal that would get Zach Gallen a little bit more than the league minimum. It's kind of a weird situation because the Diamondbacks are under no obligation to actually give him that. It's sort of just like a goodwill kind of a thing where a team might give you another $100K or $200K or something just to kind of build some goodwill for future negotiations. But the Diamondbacks didn't do that. And so things are not necessarily trending in a great direction
track right now, let me tell you.
And it's not to say that, maybe that could be rectified still. I think that's definitely a possibility. But yeah, the D-backs haven't had many guys of Zach Gallen's caliber go through arbitration.
Correct.
When Paul Goldschmidt was here, they signed him to an extension very early in the process and avoided that. So
that was also a steal, similar to Merrill Kelly's contract.
It was an absolute steal. And so you're looking at $4.5 million for Zach Gallen in 2023. That number's going to get higher in 2024 and 2025, probably substantially so. And that's not something that we've really seen a whole lot of because the D-backs haven't had a guy, that he didn't really come up through their system, but they had him right at the beginning of his career, and he's very, very good. So that number is going to go up quite a bit over the next couple years.
There's other players on this roster that there's still some question marks about, not just the arbitration players. We know they're going to be there. It's just a question of how much money they're going to get and how that's going to impact the Diamondbacks' overall payroll. The reason right now, when you look at their payroll compared to other teams that it's so low is because the Diamondbacks have so many guys, as Jesse said, on the league minimum and so many arbitration guys. They really do have a team almost entirely comprised of guys at the arbitration process or below with, essentially Mad Bum and a few others making up that top tier. Mark Melanson, Mad Bum, all the guys you don't want me to repeat their names right now. Yeah. But I will say, Alex in the comments says, give Zach Gallen 8 years, $100 million. I don't think he's taking that. I think he's going to want way more than that, sir. But
that would be, so like next year it's 4.5, if it winds up being like 9 million the year after, maybe like 15 million the year after that. You're talking about close to $30 million there over the next 3 years already. Yeah. So if you give him an 8-year, $100 million, what you're really doing is you're just buying out those arbitration years. And then you're saying you'll tack 5 years and $70 million on top of that. Zach Gallen is not going to take $70 million over 5 years. He's probably worth twice that at this point.
Yeah, he's right. But another guy that has an interesting impact potentially on this team going forward is if the Diamondbacks bring back Zach Davies. And we're going to talk about that later this week. But prep yourself for that by reading Jesse's article over at gophnx.com about that. Jesse gives his thoughts, and we're going to break that down probably on Wednesday's show. But until then, definitely get your opinions ready because we want to know if you think they should bring back Zach Davies. In the meantime, get yourself a membership if you haven't done so over at gophnx.com. it's the premier place to be an Arizona sports fan. Make sure to sign up for an annual membership. If you can, you'll get yourself a free t-shirt like this good boy Cody back here. And you can, whatever shirt you want. The Coyote shirts are all amazing, but you can get whatever shirt you want. Also, if you get a month-to-month membership, you'll get your first month for just 50 cents. Regardless of your membership status, make sure to get a membership so you can get members-only access to our Discord, members-only invites to our events, and members-only discounts over at the phnxlocker.com. We appreciate you guys that are already members. Thank you so much for supporting us and being part of the PHNX family. And of course, make sure this guy over here, make sure you check out his stuff. His stuff is incredible. If you're watching us right now on the PHNX YouTube channel, we appreciate you guys being here. Thank you guys for joining us. Of course, make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so. Sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss whenever any of our shows go live. And also validate me by giving a little thumbs up. That's the only way I feel good about myself. Is
Derek really needs
I
that
love the thumbs up.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It just makes me feel like you really like us. But of course, also check out our friends over at Underdog. Do that because it's the best place to go on pick'ems. We can't get enough of it around this office. We ride together sometimes. We all have an impromptu meeting where we decide on what higher and lower we're going to take that night.
Yeah, you guys like all do it together, it seems like.
We're a team, Jesse. We're a family.
I need to get in on this.
It's all about family. It's all about family. But make sure to get down on the pick'ems game because Underdog is all about giving you the more, the better, the more you can hit, the more money you can win. Win up to like 3, 4, 5 times your money. And whatever you bet, you'll hit it. I got that $1,000 earlier for pitch counts, guys, for pitch counts. But you can search in the App Store or click the link in the show notes. Sign up with promo code PHNX, and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code PHNX, and get in on the action today. They also have fantasy leagues you can set up one night for a couple of days. I don't even know how some of that stuff works, but I'm involved in a couple of them and I'm losing. So that's how that works. But it's a whole lot of fun and I'm having a great time. I'm having a better time, Jesse, than a couple of guys in Major League Baseball that have been very good at one point in their career, but might not be so valuable now at this point. Both Aroldis Chapman and Craig Kimbrel are not on their team's respective team's postseason roster. For different reasons, but essentially the same reason. Value to the team. Being able to be counted on, I think, in high leverage situations. Chapman actually was told that he may not make the postseason roster and apparently missed a workout and was immediately removed from the postseason roster. And Craig Kimbrel just has not been consistently good for the Dodgers this season. They have much better options in their bullpen. I don't know what that's like. And as Jesse pointed out, Kimbrel would be a great addition to the Diamondbacks if they wanted to DFA him. Just saying. If you don't want him on your postseason roster, maybe you just let him go to another team.
Yeah, right. Spread the love a little bit. Craig Kimbrel is still a pretty darn good pitcher.
Yeah.
He's just at the level that Dodger bullpen is at. He just doesn't quite fit at this point. Dustin May, I know, was in for them, a guy they recently got back from injury, and he's looked pretty good. So
Reyes Maranta was one of the Diamondbacks' more consistent relievers, and he was another guy that the Dodgers just didn't need any longer because of the abundance of talent they have in that bullpen. I don't know what that's like. Oh God!
Craig Kimbrel is the
jealous.
active leader in all of Major League Baseball in saves. Nobody currently playing.
Yeah.
You think that was obvious?
Yeah.
Who's number 2?
I don't know who's number 2. I would know. I just would know Craig Kimbrel's number 1.
They are very close.
Are they really?
They are very, very close. Number 2
Kenley Jensen?
Well, what was that last name you just
Jensen?
said? Kenley Jensen?
That's what I said? Is it wrong?
Kenley Jensen is not number 2. Kenley Jansen is number 2.
Oh my God.
Yes. Sorry, I'm going to be
Teacher Jesse just came out.
The fucking worst. Oh, man.
They're very close. They're only 3 saves apart, Kenley
Really?
Jansen and Craig Kimbrel. That's why I was so shocked that you thought you were like, it's obvious Craig Kimbrel's number 1. They're actually very close.
I wouldn't think that, but I guess it makes sense because of the success the Dodgers have during the regular season and the amount of save opportunities he gets.
You want to guess who's 3rd?
I wouldn't even have a clue.
Aroldis Chapman.
Well,
all fits.
another guy who is not as good as he used to be. But seriously though, what are your thoughts? Do you think this is? Obviously, they still have something to give. Like you said, Kimbrel's still a better pitcher statistically than a lot of the options the Diamondbacks actually currently have in their bullpen, right? So He'll land somewhere if he doesn't end up staying with the Dodgers. But for now, he's still with the Dodgers, and Chapman seems like his time with the Yankees might be wrapped up.
Yeah, they're two pretty different situations. Aroldis Chapman just didn't really pitch well this year. If you look at his numbers, Kimbrel still pitched well. He didn't pitch at an elite level like he has in the past. But
Ben says, guess who's number 4? I knew it was going to be Melanson. I knew it was going to be. Before he put that up, I knew it was going to be Melanson. Sorry.
It is Mark Melanson. That's pretty funny. And number 5 is old friend Greg Holland, who is the Diamondbacks closer a few years ago. So D-backs definitely have a trend with getting these guys maybe a little bit too late in their career.
Yeah.
But I'd like to think that Sergio Alcantara just ended Craig Kimbrel. He just ended his hopes of pitching in the playoffs with that 3-run homer a few weeks ago.
I'll take that victory.
There you go. There you go. There's a win for the D-backs in this.
Any way we can relate it back to the D-backs ending someone on the Dodgers' career, I'm for it. But hey, you know what? I think again these these are not the type of pitchers I do want the Diamondbacks going after, to be honest. I mean, that would be a very Diamondbacks move to go after someone like Chapman.
I saw some people, I don't know if this was Twitter or where this was, but some of you were talking about bringing Aroldis Chapman to Arizona next year. And
don't do it. Please don't do that.
There's just a lot of baggage there at this point. Basically, the situation that happened here is, did you say this already? Maybe I vegged out and you already
No, I did,
this.
But go ahead. Give it some more detail. I did, though. He missed the workout, right? Yeah. He was cut from the roster. But he was already, like you told me, he was already kind of on the outs with them and wasn't going to most likely be on the postseason roster anyway.
Yeah, he wasn't guaranteed. They were unable to guarantee him a postseason roster spot, but they still wanted him at this workout. And Aroldis Chapman was like, well, if I'm not getting a guaranteed spot anyway, there you go. Maybe I just won't even show up at all. And that's what happened. And sure enough, the Yankees were like, okay, well, now you're definitely not getting a spot on the postseason roster. So, it is crazy. I mean, Aroldis Chapman and Craig Kimbrel, two of the best closers that, we'll see probably in a long time. But it seems like they're kind of getting to the end of their careers as being effective major league relievers.
But it's such an entitled opinion. It's such an entitled act to be like, well, I'm not guaranteed a spot, so I'm not coming to this workout to prove myself, right?
Yeah, I don't know if he really expected any other outcome.
No, that's it. Maybe he knew the workout was just a futile effort, that he wasn't actually going to, make any kind of changes in their mind. I just think of someone like Cooper Hummel on the Diamondbacks, who couldn't be more the opposite of that. When I talked to Coop, and I've told you guys this story before, but when I talked to Coop about being part of the Arizona Fall League, which you guys should all get out to see, by the way.
Absolutely.
Like there wasn't like a hesitation on his part that after playing a 162 game season that he was ready to get back out on the diamond for the Fall League and work on stuff he needs to work on, right? He's in
a pretty different place in his career than Aroldis Chapman. But you're absolutely right. There's a substantial difference of character there.
It was about what he was there doing, right? He's trying to get more reps behind the plate so that he can be more effective at catcher and get more playing time.
Sure.
And as he told me, you see this outfield? You think I'm going to get playing time with this outfield? And it was such a realistic opinion of himself, right? And a realistic opinion about the skill level of his teammates and people that he would be competing with for playing time. But it was also like this dedicated effort to trying to be this new thing.
Sure.
You have guys like David Peralta, who were once a pitcher that couldn't pitch any longer, converted himself into a pretty damn good outfielder for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and has had himself a pretty good major league career. But that's because, again, there's a point in your career where you try to need to do everything you can to continue playing baseball and continue being a person that can help a team win baseball games. That's what it comes down to, right?
Sure.
Chapman at this point in his career should understand that he's not as effective as he used to be, and he should be willing to do whatever the team wants, if nothing more than to show that you want to be a part of this team still and that you want to be a part of baseball still. You're right, because Cooper was on a completely different, path.
Yeah.
Right?
Cooper Hummel and Aroldis Chapman have had very different journeys in their big league careers.
I'm just saying, though, again, it's very easy to kind of all right, well, this isn't, this isn't going to go well for me. So like, I should probably just pack it in and go somewhere else. Right.
Yeah.
Hummel's trying to make himself, a commodity to the Arizona Diamondbacks so that he can have more playing time next season and could potentially be that backup to Carson Kelly.
Yeah.
Or let's be honest,
shot.
maybe even be a regular catcher if he can develop that far into, being a person that can help this team win, right?
I think part of it too is that Aroldis Chapman is a free agent at the end of the year.
Sure.
So maybe he just kind of figured, the writing is on the wall. Yeah. I'm not going to get a playoff spot. Maybe he just kind of already knew, which I guess is somewhat understandable.
Does this help another team want to pick him up though? When you do that kind
probably
of thing,
not.
Right?
Probably not. I mean, there have kind of always been character questions with Aroldis Chapman for a variety of reasons.
But
yeah, I think about Stephen Vogt too. Stephen Vogt apparently in his last game, the day of his last game in the big leagues, he knew he was retiring. I think he was for like several hours before the game, he was doing catching drills, knowing full on that he was not going to catch in the last game of his career. And he was still, there for apparently multiple hours before the game, putting the work in. That's the kind of guy that, really moves the needle for a franchise. And there's a reason that Stephen Vogt means what he does to the Oakland Athletics, because he's been that guy for a number of years.
And everyone, to be honest.
And all of us. Anyone who has ever met him or watched him play or anything loves that man.
Yeah, for sure. Well, if you guys haven't had a chance to do so and you're a new customer, get down on the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers can use our promo code of PHNX, bet $5 on any NFL team to win their game. And if they do, you'll get $200 in free bets. Everyone can also boost their same-game parlays with stepped-up same-game parlays. That's different from the Step Up movies, by the way, not to get confused.
I would have been so confused.
I know. I just want to make sure Jesse is clear on that. But basically, every leg you add can boost your winnings up to 100% with payouts bigger than ever. Why do you even have more? Why would you need any other app on your phone? So get down on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. They are offering those stepped-up same-game parlays once per game day all season long. So don't forget about that. Also, opt into all of their specials. DraftKings always has a bunch of specials up at the top there when you're on your app. Just make sure you're opting in before you're making your bets. And also, if you're a new customer, it's as simple as downloading the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use our promo code of PHNX. And then once you bet $5, you'll get $200 in free bets instantly as long as your team wins their game. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. And we were talking just a little while ago about how expensive Suns tickets already are, Jesse. Lower level Suns tickets, not cheap. But you know where you can get cheap lower level Suns tickets is the Game Time app. And you can save up to 60% on tickets when you buy tickets last minute, day of. We're talking about $125 tickets for Lower Bowl to go see the Oklahoma City Thunder. Absolutely not, sir. You get down on the Game Time app day of, you'll get up to 60% off your tickets. It's great for procrastinators. It's a fine day for procrastinators. We finally get to come out on top. It's our day. We rule on the Game Time app. You are king as a procrastinator on the Game Time app. The best way to support us is by buying your tickets through the link in the description. And also, don't forget, Game Time's not just for sports, even though it's Game Time. We get it. Can be confused. Get your concerts, get your shows, get everything else. You want a Broadway play over there at the Broadway musical at the Gamage Theater? Get it on Game Time. Doesn't matter what you want. Concerts to your favorite artists, everything. I was with Mega Ran this weekend, watching him perform songs over and over again. People could have saved so much money on Game Time. I'm just saying. I'm just putting that out there. When he comes back in time.
Did you use the Game Time app to get into those?
No. I carry his merch. That's what I do to get into those shows. I stand at his merch table and watch him perform from a distance. That's what I do to get in there for free. But of course, that's only because I also watch his baby. So, I mean, we're tight like that. But make sure to support us by buying your tickets through the link in the description. And of course, we thank you guys so much for being here with us on this show. Go watch some postseason baseball. It's amazing. It's incredible. And we're going to watch all these lower seeds come up and smack the top seeds around. It's going to be fun to watch. Until then, you can get us on Twitter. I'm at cap_caveman with a K. Jesse is at Jesse N. Friedman. Our show is at PHNX_D-backs. But
Be
of course,
sure to
roads.
follow the Mariners Stan account.
Yes, it's
PHNX
at PHNX_D-backs / the Mariners Stan account. That's what we would change the name, but we're not allowed to. But, you know what we are.
We would change the logo.
We would change everything. We put them celebrating as our background picture, everything. But of course, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Again, on behalf of Leah, Jesse, and myself, we appreciate you guys taking time out and joining us for lunch. Not enjoying us. Don't eat us for lunch. Join us for lunch. But hey, it's like earlier they were talking about I don't know, beating up people and then chopping up stuff, and it was video that they were talking about, but it sounded like they were talking about eating humans. So that's a whole other thing. But again, we thank you for listening to my rants.
Right
this
now.
is a good, solid ending to a show. I don't know what. Thank you guys for joining us. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when the underdog wild card teams beat all the top seeds in the second round.